In this lesson, we're going to focus on the HTTP-Servlet Framework for doing REST-style services. To that end, I'd like to talk about what's attractive in this framework. I have the cursor in my Emacs editor. The working file, by the way, is servletframework.txt. I have my cursor pointing at the fully qualified name, so you can see it's javax.servlet.http.httpservlet. So let's get to the technical details that make this an attractive thing to use to write REST-style services. To begin, the HTTP servlet covers all of the CRUD verbs with the appropriate do methods. So you can see the list there. I have do get, do post, do put, do delete. And the idea is if the service receives a get request, then do get is called. If it receives a post request, do post is called. So the filtering of requests by verbs is done already. Furthermore, the HTTP servlet class follows the so-called adapter pattern or adapter idiom. By that I mean this class defines all of the do methods, but it gives them empty bodies. So effectively, in the HTTP servlet class, the do methods are no-ops. So I've given two examples of do get and do post, and you can see the empty body. What's nice about this for me as a programmer, I can subclass HTTP servlet. Let's call that my HTTP servlet. And then I can override the do methods that I care about and ignore the others. So for example, if I care about do get, I can do my own override of that. If I don't care about do post, I just take the empty version that I inherit from my parent. Very straightforward, a familiar programming idiom in Java. There are some other points of interest, technical ones. Each of the do methods takes two arguments. The first is the HTTP servlet request. It's a map, as you might guess. It encapsulates everything that comes in the HTTP request. So whatever the client sends me, basically I get as a Java map that I can manipulate in the usual way. The second argument is the HTTP servlet response, and it contains an output stream that allows the servlet to write back to the client. So for example, if I'm going to send back some XML or JSON, plain text, whatever, I would use that output stream with the appropriate print or write method to send information back to the client. Furthermore, the HTTP servlet response class has very nice symbolic constants that cover the HTTP status codes. So I've listed three of them. You see SC_OK, that's 200. SC method not allowed, that's 403. SC not found, that's 404. A final point worth mentioning is this. Sometimes in RESTful services, you need access to the HTTP headers. So for example, cookies are stored in the HTTP header. There might be authentication information stored there, digital certificates, digital signatures, that sort of thing. In the HTTP servlet framework, I have full access to the HTTP headers, both on the incoming request and in the outgoing response. Now, what I'd like to do in the next lesson is start a revision of the original predictions service. That original service supported only get operations, in other words, read operations. I'd like to use the HTTP servlet to illustrate how we can expand that prediction service to cover all of the CRUD verbs. So for example, a client now can read all of the existing predictions all at once or one at a time. We'll add that feature. Can get back, for example, XML or JSON. We'll add that feature. Create a new prediction, add it to the list. We'll add that. Edit an existing prediction, delete an existing prediction.